And I'd like to welcome everybody here to learn about iNaturalist and the City Nature Challenge. Thank you, Bill Curtis, for coming and sharing your knowledge with us and helping us understand better how to use technology to become and get closer to our natural world. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. How is everybody?
Wonderful.
Joyce gave me a thumbs up. Molly did. I've done interpretation for a long time, and I was taught a long time ago that you're supposed to make eye contact. And I keep looking at a bunch of eyes on the screen, and they just aren't. It's just not working. I'm not used to that. But I am delighted to see how many people are here tonight. I think that's wonderful. I think iNaturalist is great. I'm going to share my screen and go through a PowerPoint, and then I'm going to share the screen on my phone and actually go through making an observation. So you'll see how that works. If I go through something too fast or in a way that's confusing, raise your hand or put something in the chat or unmute yourself and say, stop, back up. I didn't understand the thing you just said. Because when we're out of here in about an hour, 45 minutes we're scheduled for, but I really want everybody to be able to use iNaturalist. I think it's a wonderful program. Good. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. You all are smart enough to figure out that I am neither Maura Duffy nor Christina Garvey. I don't play either one on TV, but the National Aquarium is the sponsor for the Baltimore arm of the City Nature Challenge. And Maura and Christina put this slideshow together. And I suppose I could have sort of copied it over and made it look like mine, but that would have been cheating. Maura and Christina did a great deal of work to put this together, and they should be thanked for it. So I'm just going to show you their work and go through it. What is iNaturalist? It's kind of like Facebook for nature nerds. It's a social network in which you can record what and when and where for anything that's alive, plants, animals, fungi. And after you and I record it, other people can go in and ID it and confirm the ID, and then you get a confirmed identification of what is around, which is pretty neat. As of April 2021, there are 60 million observations in the iNaturalist database. That's amazing. When I started working for the National Park Service, the way we did observations of wildlife was there was a little government form that was printed on a 3x5 card that was called a wildlife observation card. And visitors could take one of those if they wanted to, or staff, and they could write down on this card where they were and what they saw. And then they could hand it to somebody who would compile that card with no way to double check it. And in fact, I was talking to somebody who said that somebody turned in a picture of an animal on that card, and they actually took a photograph, and they identified on the card that the animal was behind the tree on the left. And there was a photograph of two trees. And the animal they observed was right behind that tree. So this is just an amazing bit of software. If you're a person of a certain age, it's mind-blowing that there can be 60 million observations. And then about 10,000 more from the Baltimore City Nature Challenge in a couple of weeks. It can help you track what you've seen. It can help you explore what is around. If you want to look for a specific animal or plant, you can use iNaturalist to see where they have been seen in your area. And you're contributing to science. This is citizen science at its finest, and it's fun. And why is biodiversity data important? Because if you don't have data, you can't do much. You need the facts, just the facts, ma'am, as Jack Webb used to say. So this is a great way to do that. And scientists, in fact, use this data to track what's going on, where animals are, where they've been seen, what they've been doing. So the City Nature Challenge is April 30 to May 3. And I'm going to play a short video about that, if you'll give me just a second.
Bill, is there sound? Because there's no sound coming through. Bill, did you hear me? There's no sound coming through?
By scientists and naturalists.
Oh. All right. I don't know why you couldn't hear that. And I'm not going to figure it out because I'm not that good a computer person. But it's an exciting little video that talked about the City Nature Challenge.
Could you put the, can you just cut and paste that link into the chat?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Sorry about that. So the California Academy of Sciences is one of the people that developed iNaturalist, and they did it through the California University system. So the City Nature Challenge started with the schools in San Francisco and Los Angeles, and just the people that were working on the software did it, and they had fun with each other, and they said, I bet we can get more observations this weekend than you can. And they had so much fun, they decided to expand it. And it has grown dramatically in the last few years. In 2020, there were 41,000 people, 815,000 observations in 32,000 species in about 330 cities. And here's a map of all those cities. So it is a worldwide deal. One of those little red dots is Baltimore. It starts Friday, April 30, 12:01 a.m. Ends Monday, May 3, 11:59. And that's the observation period. And then you have till May 10 to upload your data. So you can go out and record stuff on those dates that it's open, and then you have till the 10th to upload the data. And it covers the Baltimore metropolitan area. Who knew that Queen Anne's County was part of the Baltimore metropolitan area, but it is. That is somebody's metropolitan statistical area. I don't remember what federal agency decides those things, but that's the group that's involved for Baltimore. In 2018, we had just shy of 6,000 observations. 2020, we had essentially doubled that to almost 11,000 observations just in those counties in that 5-day period. That's pretty amazing. All right, so iNaturalist, the database is all based on taxonomy, and all of you, I suspect, at one time or another, way back in elementary school or middle school, took taxonomy. I don't know if any of you are experts on it, but that's the basis of how the database is built. I didn't know that there are 2 species of dandelion. Who knew that? But there are. The point of this slide is to only go as far down to species as you are comfortable with. If you're not exactly sure, you can always go up a couple of levels on the taxonomy and just list it as a plant, and then let the experts come along and identify it, or a mammal, for example. So now I'm going to stop sharing my computer screen. I'm going to try to stop sharing my computer screen. Yeah, see, I told you. And yeah, don't do that. All right.
At the bottom, so it says stop share.
Yeah, but I have to find the right, I have to get to the meeting first. Well, this is embarrassing. And this is going to be live, you say?
I'm trying to see if there's anything I can do here.
I didn't leave the meeting, did I?
Here we go. All right, I just stopped your share.
There we go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry about that. Oh, now you need to make. No, it won't let my phone share. Can you find my phone, Bronwyn?
It should be shareable now, Bill.
Sorry about that, everybody, but here is, you're now looking at my phone. You can probably tell I have an iPhone. If you have an Android, the process is very similar, but not just the same. And I can't tell you more than very similar, but basically the steps go through. This is what you get first. Yeah, Nancy, I'm going to try to do that right now. So down in the bottom, you can observe, and then you can use a camera or your photograph roll, or you can take a video. And if you use your camera, while you're walking down the trail, you might be lucky enough to see Bill's favorite animal. And now you save that photograph and you can see there's a little option that says, what did you see? And this silly little picture of a beaver isn't smart enough to recognize what it is, but you can see there's a bunch of choices and that you can work through. I happen to know that that is a beaver, and it says where I was and when I was, and then down there's an option for geo-privacy. Open is best, but if you are in your backyard or your basement, you might not want to tell just everybody exactly where you live when you're out in your backyard. And then you could go to obscured down at the bottom. Can you see those choices? But you can click open and then there's a green bar at the bottom that says share, and you can share that. And now it's waiting to upload. I'm going to delete that because it's obviously not a real animal. But you can see how that process works. Or if you go to observe again and you use the camera roll, I'm going to pick that picture. All you need is proof of the animal. You don't necessarily need the animal. So in this case, I'm doing that lookup again. And in this particular case, I happen to know that that is from a great horned owl. But if you weren't sure, you could just pick that top choice that says owls. And then I'm going to go to that location again. And I happen to know that it was really about there that I took that photograph. So I can save that location. But I don't necessarily want the world to know just exactly where a great horned owl was, because some people bother them when they're children. So I obscured that location. And then I can share it. And again, I'm going to delete these observations when we're done with this meeting, because obviously a plastic beaver is not real.
Bill, there's a question: is what's the difference between obscuring and making a location private?
Private actually makes the whole thing disappear. You can't see it all where it is, which really makes it an observation that you can keep and you can know exactly what you had, but nobody else can see it. So it really doesn't go in to the database the way it should. So it is best to do obscured. Private, so private really is private. It makes it your own little private collection, but nobody else can see it.
So the Samsung, the Android people are having kind of a conversation here, and said they can't find any of the choices on their phone. Kelly's saying that she sees a plus sign. Michael says same here.
Try the plus sign and see what happens.
Okay. And then we have a question from Joyce. Nope, I'm sorry, that was another one. Nancy wants to know, are the experts more interested in seeing observations or interested in seeing observations or figuring out what they are? I'm not sure I understand Nancy's question there.
So one of the great things about iNaturalist is it shares everybody's knowledge. And a lot of people have a lot more knowledge than I do. So if I'm not exactly sure what plant I've just captured, but it got my attention, so I took a picture of it, I'll just put it in as a plant. And then the people who are real plant experts will come in and narrow down exactly what kind of plant it was. So it's combining everybody's knowledge and time leads to the best result. Does that answer your question?
So a scientist can't be all these places at once. So you're out there and you can just be taking all these pictures of different things, and then they can figure out what exactly it is and what exactly it means.
Right. But there's no way that they can be everywhere all the time. So when you and I are out and about and making observations, we're adding to the database and then they're refining it.
Okay, with two questions here. Larry says that his camp is not a phone camera. How can I go back and put in the location once posted? Is that going to be on the computer part?
Yes, and when we get down to the computer, I'll show you how to do that.
Okay, so Larry, hang tight for that one. And then again, Cheryl says, I see the plus to take a photo, but then what? There seems to be a lot of differences between the Android and the Apple app. So we can hold on to that. Maybe we can look at the Android in particular just after we go through everything, and we just hang on tight for that.
Yeah, would you? I don't own an Android, but stay with us and we'll see if we can work it through when the
And then Audrey wants to say, when the experts improve on the name, or will they be able to see what they figured out on
Yes.
your? Okay.
Yes, you will get a notice that says that somebody has added to your observation. I'll show you that in a minute too.
And I'm sure you're gonna get to this, but just in case, what important things should they keep in mind as they take a picture so that the scientists can do the ID on it?
Yep. Hang tight. I'll answer that question in a couple of minutes.
All right, let me just go ahead and shut up, and you can keep going.
No problem. So if you have your phone and you have iNaturalist loaded, see if you can observe those two animals by literally holding your phone up and taking a picture of your computer screen. My phone would recognize them. And so see if you can do the bird on the left or the insect on the right and go through the steps and get an observation.
Maureen, hold on to your gear thing, but then just try this exercise first.
Sue, are you getting anything?
Yeah, I've gotten to the photograph part, but it might be where I am because it keeps going around and around for finding current location. So it's like the GPS thing, and I have an Android. So I
Actually,
probably,
Blackbird.
if I went out front, it would probably be okay.
Yep. Could you ID the bird?
Blackbird.
Yep.
Oh, I actually did the beetle.
Okay. What did you come up with?
Well, okay. Oh, common tiger beetles, 6-spotted.
You got it.
Okay. Oh, there was a step I had not seen there. Okay. Yeah, on these phones, Bill, it says, what did you see?
Should it be?
It'll say, what do you see? And you click on that and it'll give you the
Right.
options. Yep.
Don't you think it should be 6-spotted tiger beetle?
Yes, it is. Whoever said that.
Yeah, well, it is the top suggestions, but it's not a common. Yeah,
No.
Perfect.
because the color and then the spots, the white spots, I guess.
Yes, that's what it is.
Well, Laura, the top one is just the genus, and that you're using that picture as a picture for
Cincindella.
the whole
Okay.
genus. So that's just keeping it at the higher level, and then you can go down for the species where it says the 6-spotted.
What kind
So,
of bird was it? What kind of bird is it? Is it a red-winged bird or not?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
so when you get to the red-winged blackbird, then how do you select it? I mean, do I just click on that and say, yes, that's what it is?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so it shows up. Got it.
Should we share it? Probably not, because it's not real.
Correct.
Okay, so at the bottom, it says add to projects. We don't want to do that.
No, you don't need to do that. The great computer in the sky will add it to the Baltimore City Nature Challenge.
Then I see somebody ask the question I'm going to ask, how do we delete it?
Yeah.
Just cancel it, or go back, cancel it.
With an iPhone, you can hit cancel. And
Oh, there's a little trash can in here. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Down
Bill,
on the
I also have
bottom.
a question for the geo-privacy. Do I have to select it each time I take a picture, or could it be fixed as the setting?
it defaults to open,
Correct.
so you don't have to select it.
Okay,
Just let it go.
thank you.
You would only select it if for some reason you want to hide the where you are.
Joyce had a question about the Latin names, and you can go to your settings and change that to common names.
Yeah, because I'm getting common names, Joyce, and not Latin names.
So if you go to your settings, because I was just there, where'd it go? If you go to click on your profile, it says at the bottom, there's a little thing that says me. Then you can choose, you can have show common names and show scientific names first. You can choose both of those things.
How are people doing? Are most of us getting some of these critters?
Mm-hmm.
Laura has a question. If you make captive, do they not identify it? I'm not sure what that means.
No, it will still be identified.
Okay. Hello.
The captive or cultivated, you really don't want to go to the zoo and start recording lemurs. Because when somebody goes in to search, to study where lemurs are found in the world, and they do a search in the database and they pick up a lemur in Baltimore, they're going to start scratching their head and having a funny notion of the natural distribution of lemurs. So you want to, likewise for cultivated plants. The Japanese, or the Japanese maple down the street would confuse people if it got listed as a, looking like it was native to Rogers Forge.
So Bill, the idea is for these to be naturally found, naturally occurring.
Correct. Yeah, we're after natural stuff, where it got there naturally.
So Bill, our address still come up once we do the obscured.
No, it puts it like a half-mile circle. In my case, it just says Heathfield Road, and it doesn't have a street number. I live
Oh,
on
it has my street number, but not my, I mean, my street name. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but not a number, I think.
Yes. Oh, okay.
So it just puts you in that general
Oh, okay.
neighborhood.
Thank you.
So Bill, I have a question. So if if I take a picture and it does not come out to be anything that is real, and I don't know the idea of whatever the plant or insect, does iNaturalist, well, is there, I mean, is there another website that might do better? I know about Google Lens. Does that do better or not?
No, what you want to do is just go up that taxonomic chart and put it in as bird, mammal,
Okay.
plant, put it in as a plant, and then sit back and wait, and all of a sudden you'll get an email the next time you look at iNaturalist that somebody has identified that plant for
Oh,
you.
wonderful. That's why
I get some sometimes
wonderful.
even a year
Okay,
or
thanks.
2 years later. So-and-so just added an identification to your observation.
Oh, cool.
So just,
Bill,
yep,
what if you know what the animal is that you're observing? I haven't been able to figure out how to put in my own ID of a white-tailed deer.
just,
Can one self-ID?
yeah. I can't, I don't want to go back to sharing my phone. Just type in white-tailed deer. On that, under what did you see? Just start typing in white-tailed deer and it will find it.
Okay.
Nancy wants to know, is a cell phone picture usually good enough?
Yes. In a couple minutes, I'll show you another picture that I took with a cell phone and how to make it better. So let's go. I think most of you are picking up on this. So let me go down a few more slides. That's a nice.
Try that one.
Now I just want to show you with these two slides, I want to show you natural versus cultivated. This is a jack in the pulpit
Yes,
where it came up naturally.
yes, and native too. But when you say natural, it does not need to be native, does it?
It really means, well, it got there naturally, not with human input. As opposed to this flower, this picture.
Tulip.
Yeah, and if you look at the background, you can see a stone edging. And you can see mulch, which
see.
is a pretty strong hint that that plant was cultivated and did not get there by itself.
I see. So even if I have a May apple in my front yard, you don't want me to take a picture of that then?
Did you plant it?
I did.
Yeah, then, well, you can put it in as, but listed as cultivated.
I see. Okay. Thanks.
Do people use iNaturalist to identify invasive non-natives and show their spread?
Yep,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think there's also another app that used by Baltimore City.
yes, iNaturalist is great for tracking undesirable stuff too.
So Nancy's question is, do we want to avoid invasives? And I said, no, you want to take pictures of that so we know where they are and where we need to eradicate them, I guess, and how they've spread.
Yes. Cultivated really means somebody took a shovel and planted it.
In
If it-
case of the invasive, do you want to sort of assign to a certain project then? Because
No.
some of those also be cultivated, right?
Yeah, the system will do that.
Okay.
So we had a couple questions. Birds are hard to take pictures of, especially with an iPhone. I'll show you a couple of mine. I like to play around just because I'm nuts with a pair of binoculars and an iPhone, and I can get a pretty decent picture, but it takes two hands and some patience, and usually the bird moves before you do it. But it's fun. And you want to look for, you really want to get the details of what you're after. Look at that picture. We can do better if we do that. That's really what we want to see, right? So you wouldn't want to post the picture on the left if you could help it. You want to try to get it in focus. Lots of angles are good, especially with fungi, mushrooms. If you can hold the phone upside down and get those gills on the bottom, they're very helpful for identifying. So if the thing's not moving very fast and you can get a lot of angles, that's good. Something for scale if you have it.
So if we're taking multiple pictures of different angles and stuff, how do we note that it's all the same individual that we're shooting?
Well, because you're taking the picture of it. Are you thinking of the track?
Well, I'm thinking, so then I would have, let's say, for instance, 6 photos of the same individual. And because they're taken a couple of seconds after each other, the person looking at them would understand it's a different angle of the same individual?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So you enter each one as a separate observation? Share
No,
each one?
no, you would put them all under one observation. I'll show you that
Okay, great, thank you.
also. And if you can get a lot of angles, that's good. Oh, if I could type, I'd be superintendent. So here's the website.
So you can do it either way, on a phone or the website.
Correct. And If you look on the website in the upper right, there's this green bar that says upload. And then you can choose photographs. And I'm going to pick that one. And then it's a similar process. See where it says species name? I happen to know that that's a groundhog, so I can slide down to groundhog. And this photograph was taken with my trail camera, so I know where it was. I clicked on location, and then this map comes up. And I happen to know that I was in Cromwell Valley Park. And I happen to know that the camera was right about there. And can everybody see that I've made an observation here through the
Yes.
computer? So if you had a real camera and you were out taking pictures, you could get them into your computer and then you could upload them this way and not use a smartphone at all.
And how would you do it if you were using a smartphone?
We would need to.
So you can either do it in the field with the smartphone, or
Yeah.
I use Google Photos. And the photos they go up into the cloud that Google owns, and then I can download them to the computer. Or in this case, this was a trail camera, so it was on an SD card. And I could put the SD card in the computer. That makes sense?
Do you put it into Google Maps from
No,
your
no.
iPhone or?
No, you don't need Google Maps at all.
Okay.
Google has a cloud photo storage.
Okay.
You could take an SD card from your camera and put it in your laptop.
I just took it on my iPhone.
Yep, that works.
And
That's
so
the
it's
easiest.
on my iPhotos, and now what?
If it's on your iPhotos and you open that up on your computer, you can download that
Go ahead.
download that photograph to your computer and then upload it this way. But you want to do it directly from your phone.
Bingo.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Bill.
so go back to iNaturalist,
Okay.
and on the observe, there is a choice not to use the camera, but on the iPhone, it's called the camera roll.
Got it.
And if you
Got
click
it.
on that,
Uh-huh.
all your photos show up.
Yeah.
And you could in fact click on several photographs at once
Just one.
and click on that and say okay or hit enter or whatever.
Show selected file of photos.
Yeah, try that.
And then hit done.
Yep.
And then hit add.
Yes.
And then it says, what do you see?
Yep, now you're right back to,
Okay. And this is where,
What do you see? Click that, it'll give you options. If not, you can type in your white-tailed deer.
right, it didn't let me do that before. Let me try it this time. Because this is a different way. It's like it won't let me ID my own animal. And I couldn't believe it was sitting outside the door when this thing started. I'm thinking, boy, that's easy. Tailed deer. Share. Well, let's see what happens. Don't wait for me, just go on, and if it works, it works.
All right, so here's the iNaturalist website. So we uploaded an observation. And we actually, if you look where my mouse is, there's this little, whatever that little symbol is, tells me that Brennan Farrell has already added an identification to that observation of the great horned owl that I uploaded recently. And if I go to that, and if I slide down here, you can see that I suggested something, and then 18 minutes ago, Brennan Farrell said it was a great horned owl. That's the social part. And if that person had wanted to, he or she could have put some comments down
Good.
there.
Dinner's ready.
Oh, okay. I'll be right there. Okay.
I can give you another 5.
What's for dinner?
So let me just, 2 more slides, and then I'm going to stay around as long as anybody would like and go through all of this some more to make sure that I didn't go by something too quickly or didn't leave something unanswered. If you go to aqua.org, you can pledge to get onto the City Nature Challenge. Or if you just search City Nature Challenge Baltimore, that website will come up, and then you can get your email on there and get some information. And then it's kind of fun to watch the numbers total up, and people in Baltimore, you can see who's made the most observations and how many observations have been made, and it's just kind of fun to track that. And once again, we should, for anything good that came out of the last hour, you should thank the National Aquarium. For anything that was confusing and not well presented, you can blame me. So give the National Aquarium all the good thoughts, and otherwise go out and have fun and observe things. Are there
Thank you.
questions?
Yeah, Bill, can you stop share and we can come back? It's hard to teach something, you know, like this when you have all these different people and all these different places. I think you did a wonderful job, Bill. And we'll stay on and people can ask questions. It also, we did this a week in advance so that you have time to go out and play with the app and get familiar with it and get ready for the City Nature Challenge as it's coming up. So if anybody has a question, it looks like Althea has her hand raised. Althea, what do you need to know?
Oh, nothing. That was from earlier. I need to put my hand down.
I have a question. Do they have a YouTube video or something that can also help tutor us?
Yes. If you search on YouTube, you'll find it.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Cheryl wants to know, do we need to pledge to participate, or
No, you don't.
As we participate, it'll be counted?
You do not need to pledge. It just lets the aquarium have some more information about who's doing it, and it gets you on a mailing list, which you may or may not want to be on another email list.
Somebody earlier mentioned that you should donate to the site if you can. Bill, can you speak to that?
To which site?
I'm assuming it was iNaturalist. Does iNaturalist take donations or
Oh,
no?
yes, they do.
Okay.
I honestly have no idea how badly they need those donations, but they do accept them, and you can buy a t-shirt too.
Bill, I have a question.
Yeah,
I think I'm coming to the conclusion that iNaturalist is really based on observations with a photograph. So recently when I saw a bird, observed a bird for several moments on a hike, but wasn't able to get a picture, I tried to use Merlin and eBird to get an ID, and they were telling me the closest thing I thought I found wasn't possible. So if I don't have a picture, I can't really use iNaturalist to help me. Is that correct?
you can do it by sound.
If I had an audio recording.
Well, yes, but iNaturalist has
Yeah, I saw that somewhere.
an option. Somebody asked me to show how to do it by sound. If you go back to iNaturalist,
Right.
Oh,
you go to observe.
You want to share your screen for that one or no? Okay.
Yeah,
Just holding up his phone.
It seems like you're off of your phone got off.
down at the bottom, you can record with no photograph to answer your question. If you can see it over on the left. And then there's camera roll, and record sound. And if you go to record sound, it will in fact start to record the sound. And then you can upload that. And I have done that from time to time. And when I upload a sound, I am terrible at bird song. I just list it as AVES, birds. In fact, you can see one. If you look at this screen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 10th and 11th entry on this screen are birds, and those are just sounds.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
But you can observe with no photograph. And just type in what you saw.
So Bill, once you get it onto your My Observations list, is it now out there for other people to look at?
Yes.
So we just assume that it is being shared.
Correct.
Okay.
What are projects? You mentioned projects several times. Are they like albums or?
Yeah, they can be any number of things that somebody wants to track. A park could make a project of Herring Run Park, for example, I believe was a project, and it just accumulates everything that's in that area.
Okay, so it's not my project. I don't, like, if I wanted to take native plants and I wanted to take invasive plants, I can't like just separate them out into albums.
To tell you the truth, I've never tried.
Okay.
I don't believe so, but
Cheryl, try that and let us know.
Uh-huh. If I can figure it out, I first have to figure out how to put them in correctly.
On the website, of iNaturalist, you can search for things and you can refine the search down to the specific species that you're looking for.
Thank you.
And
Delma
everything-
has her hand up. Yep.
Yes. Hello. This is Alma. Sorry, I don't have my camera on.
Okay.
But I did have a question about kind of a more meta question about the purpose of iNaturalist. I was introduced to iNaturalist initially as an ID app. It will help you ID plants, animals, things. So I'm born and raised in a big city. I know nothing about plants or trees. So even just the most pedestrian tree outside of my balcony planted by my apartment complex, I have no idea what it is. And everyone says, try iNaturalist. It will tell you what your tree outside your balcony is. But what I'm getting the impression from tonight is that iNaturalist is also about community science and compiling data. Is it terrible to use iNaturalist as an ID tool to help me ID the things that I as a city kid don't know, or are there different tools that might be better? Because I would hate to clog up the iNaturalist database with pictures of sparrows and pigeons and random trees outside my balcony planted by my apartment complex that I have no idea what they are. Like, they're cultivated, but I still don't know what they are. So a philosophical question, I guess.
Well, let me try two answers. One, the whole point of iNaturalist and its database is to be clogged. The more stuff that's in it, the better. So no, put all the sparrows you see in there and keep putting them in, because that's what it's all about.
Wonderful.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I feel less guilt now about
Oh,
uploading.
don't
trees.
feel guilty. I mean, you can't manage a resource if you don't know what it is. You can't possibly take care of the cherry trees if you don't know how many cherry trees you got and where they are.
And Zelma, I believe that's why they have the cultivated tag that you can put on. Is that correct, Bill?
Yeah.
So
But I'm gonna-
if it's cultivated, you're tagging it as such. So you're getting the ID and the cultivation.
I'm going to share my screen again, as you probably saw. And somebody else asked about this app called Seek. Somebody when we started. I don't know if that person is still with us or not. But this Seek is owned by iNaturalist, and it all uses the same database. But one thing that it does is it identifies things as you look at them. Did everybody see me identify a cheetah?
Yes.
I could do it again. But the whole point is, well, see, it's silly to do it. It won't identify my carpet. And you can tell we're tennis players. So I'm going to stop this. But this program called Seek can help you if all you want to do is identify. But please don't hesitate to put data in there. That's what iNaturalist is all about. And they want you to have fun putting in data, but they want that data.
So I have a quick follow-on question to that. How do you avoid duplication? I mean, if 10 people come along and take a picture of the same sparrow.
I don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
I've wondered that myself.
Thanks so much for that. I'm going to definitely download that Sleep program, but someone in the group has actually messaged me privately with a really good point as well, is that if I just want to use iNaturalist for ID, I can just use the upload feature and then and just not upload it and get my ID that way. But I also like the idea of the program too. So great advice from everyone and encouragement. Thank you.
Great. Have fun with it.
Hey, Bill, Joanne wants to know if do you have to submit your challenges to City Nature Challenge for it to be included?
No, the big computer in the sky will find every observation made within those 6 counties that are the Baltimore metropolitan statistical area and automatically put them in the challenge.
And
I had
Laura,
go ahead.
Laura has her hand up.
Yeah, a friend of mine tried to get me to use iNaturalist, so I loaded it and I did what I thought was what I was supposed to do. So on November 7th, I put in the information on a plant that I found, took pictures, took multiple pictures, loaded it up, and it's been sitting there since November 7th. No one has tagged it, no one's ID'd it. Is that normal? Because then I put something else a week ago and it's still sitting there. No one's made a comment, hasn't been ID'd by anyone. All my friends keep saying, I get emails all the time telling me what it is, but I haven't gotten anything from anybody.
Some of my observations sit unobserved for weeks. So yeah, that's not uncommon.
Okay, because it's been over, I put it in on November 7th and it still hasn't been looked at by anybody. So that's why I was wondering, because I labeled it as captive because it was planted by somebody. It's a native plant that was planted 20 years ago that nobody knows what it is now. So I was trying to get an identification on it, but when you do what is this plant, it doesn't come up with anything. It says, I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out. So I entered it to see if anybody else would, but it's been sitting for, 4 months now, I guess, 3 months.
It could be that people are less interested in captive, but that's a guess.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
But sometimes I get a note that an observation I made 2 years ago, somebody puts another ID on.
Okay.
So
Another
they
quick
sit there.
follow on. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, another quick follow on to that. How do we look at somebody else's stuff? I mean, we're waiting for people to look at ours. How do we look at theirs?
If you go back to the website and go to search, whatever nice word, you'll see a nice word. Go explore, go to explore. And then you can explore by species, you can explore by place. You'll see a map that comes up. And then a whole lot of places you can poke around and look for specific plants or animals in specific places. Or just look at a place and look at everything that's in it. So it's under explore.
Joanne has her hand up.
Hi. When I first learned the app about 2 years ago, it took me a good while till I got a handle on it and could, go through these steps. And then I just, was playing around with it and I see there's like so many other features that are available, but I can't find any place that explains them all. Like I've Googled and tried to watch videos of tutorials and stuff, and nobody goes into the more detailed aspects. Like for example, I used to think, oh, I want to know more about this observation, so I'd write down what iNaturalist told me it was, and then I would Google that bird or whatever to get more information. And then I discovered at the bottom of the page of iNaturalist, it says, get more information or something like that. You can click on that and it takes you to Wikipedia or whatever, and you can learn a lot more about that plant or animal. So it's like I just stumbled across that, and it's like such a great resource right there for you to easily click on. But I want to know, how do I learn about some of these other things that are probably available on the app, but we just don't know how to use them. Do you know of a resource that does that?
No, what happened to computer manuals? They
I
died about
know.
10 years ago. I wish somebody would tell me how to use Microsoft Office.
Oh, gosh. Like
But
Excel.
yeah, no, you just got to keep playing. But there is, can you see where it says lungwort?
Yes.
And there's a little arrow next to that word lungwort, and then it brings up this written description.
Uh-huh.
So that's, no, but no, I can't find a manual for this thing. And that seems to be the way of modern computer programs, is you just have to mess around with them.
Joanne, you mess around with it and then you create a video and put it on YouTube and as a tutorial, and we'll all learn from you.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But there's a lot of stuff in this database that the experts use in mine. I was talking to a friend who got a call out of the blue from a doctor, somebody, because she had observed something in Maine. And this guy was studying that animal and he wanted to know more about her observation.
That's
So we
awesome.
interviewed her for a few minutes. So this stuff really does get out there and get used seriously, which I think is fantastic.
If there are not any other questions right now, I want your homework is easy. Go out there and start playing with iNaturalist out in the wild. Start collecting things. Bill, you know, if people have questions, would you mind them getting in touch with you, or?
No, not at all.
I just put you on the spot.
Nope, you can find me on Facebook and message me through Facebook. Or I don't know, did my email get?
You can always send me a question at bestrong@marylandnature.org, and I can get the answer from Bill. And back to you, I can act as an intermediary. But go out there, have fun. Let's get Baltimore at the top of the list this year in the City Nature Challenge. I'm excited to get out there and start making my collections this year. Joanne has a question real quick.
Yeah, I put this in the chat, but it was a long time ago. I was thinking about trying to get one of those little lenses that you can attach to your iPhone to zoom in so that my pictures that I submit are like of insects and flowers or whatever, you know, detail is better. Has anybody tried any of those and recommend anything?
Hang on a sec. No. Oh, I thought I could put my hands on it. There is a macro lens that costs about $10.
Oh.
It is a tiny little lens that is literally embedded into a rubber band that you can wrap around your phone and stick the lens in front of your phone lens and make it a macro lens.
Wow.
Has anybody used something like that? Does it really do any good?
Yeah, it looks like a $10 lens.
I know you mentioned
But,
about taking pictures through binoculars, and there's, I mean, I am not that coordinated, and what I'm gonna want to take a picture of will probably fly away by the time.
There is also an app called Magnify. It's got a little picture of a magnifying glass. Where's my finger? Second row down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good app. It's free. And it will magnify up to 10x and take a photograph.
But my phone will zoom in 10x, won't it?
Not as well as this thing does.
Oh, it does better? Okay.
And so you can get a 10x magnification on your phone for free.
Great, thank you.
You bet. Anybody else?
All right, thanks, Bill, so much, and thanks
You're welcome.
everybody. Thanks everybody for joining us. Good luck with your iNaturalist app. Keep us posted and stay safe, stay curious, stay well, and we hope this happy Earth Eve. We'll see you tomorrow with Rachel Carson. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
Thanks, Bill.
You bet.